meeting is being recorded.
Is loss part of our spiritual path? That's what we're focusing on today. So we're going to focus on that, and I am trying to figure out how to get this screen to cooperate. If you'll bear with me, we'll go for this. Okay, now here we go. So is loss part of our spiritual path? That's one of the things we're going to explore today. And it's not always what we think when we talk about loss. Just so for those who are watching the recording, I'm CiCi with Wise Woman Evolving, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here live and on the recording. So we want to talk today about navigating through loss, preparing for loss, what our expectations are, either because we think it may come in whatever form that is. It may be from age. It may be that we're expecting or waiting or wondering. In today's world, somebody made a comment a few minutes ago, today's world is just kind of crazy or something along those lines. A lot of people are waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Whether it be economic or financial or job loss. It could be loss of a loved one, or we don't know when we'll go. I was just sharing with the group that I was pretty much run off the road today and into oncoming traffic. So I'm very grateful to be alive. Obviously, we have to remember life is short. And that's part of our message today. Whether or not we're thinking about loss or dealing with loss, life is short. It should be enjoyed. We should have fun in life. If we're not, it means we need to back up and try another route. We're all on the same path. Like, say this is the path. And we have to remember that, maybe we need to, instead of going here, we need to go here. Or maybe instead of making it hard work and going here, we need to just go this way. There are many ways, right? And we have to remind ourselves to slow down, take a deep breath, enjoy being here now. Be present with yourself, with others in your environment, with your family, with your friends, and even with your coworkers or your neighbor, whoever is asking for a moment of your time or attention. Give them a smile, even if you're passing somebody on the sidewalk or in the grocery store. And a lot of times when we think about loss, we think that we die. We have to remember we don't die. Consciousness lives on. There's no beginning and no end to consciousness. Consciousness is. And the key is being aware of being consciousness. One way to do that is to stay centered in your heart. And there are many techniques. I'm happy to walk people through that. I may even have something posted, like a short video or something, on my YouTube channel, which is Wise Woman Evolving. On that, I think I might have a short video posted on that. But a lot of times when we think we're procrastinating or putting things off, and we start getting tired and we don't feel like it, sometimes it's meant that we're not supposed to do whatever task we think we're supposed to do, and we need to kind of reevaluate. Sometimes, though, it's due to fear of some kind of loss, whether that's the loss of our joy, the loss of our time, the loss of, not being willing to do or not being able to do something because we're giving up something we really would prefer doing to do whatever task is at hand that's wearing us out and making us procrastinate. So we don't know how these things will show up. And a lot of us these days, a lot of people are concerned with loss of freedoms. We have to remember our sovereignty is inside. It is standing in our own truth, our own knowing, so that even if someone is thrown in the bottom of the dungeon, if they can control the mind, and it can be done when we really work to center ourselves in our hearts, then we can be anywhere we choose to be. Yes, we want to be present here and now in this body, but we can also utilize that state to bring ourselves to maybe another plane, okay? Another plane of consciousness, another plane of existence. We live on many, many, many different planes, and we can choose our experience. And we can pretend it's like a clothesline, or like you go to the dry cleaners and you give them your ticket to pick up your jacket, and they press a button, and just gazillions of clothes hangers with clothes are, looping around, and they're watching and waiting for that ticket number to come up. And then they stop it and pull off that piece of clothing, that jacket, off the racket and give it to you. We can pretend that that is the carousel that we choose from a different plane, a different existence, a different experience, really, that we might prefer. Say, if you've got a hip that's bothering you, sometimes it's as easy as deciding, I'm going to choose a different experience. I'm going to go on a different plane. I'm going to choose from that carousel, watch it go there. I want that one. Pain free, good hip. I'm ready to go. Or maybe we recognize, by choosing that different experience, that we can choose the experience of having our own freedom. When we free ourselves from limiting beliefs, we're able to also free ourselves in our mind, our spirit, and then our outer world begins to shift and change. Then we can recover our energy. We can, say, if you have allergies or bug bites. I was out in the garden this morning. One of the participants on the call said that they were in the garden and they got bitten by fire ants. I was out in the garden this morning, and for some reason the bugs were really fierce. And I thought all I wanted to do was run in. And I thought, well, I've really got to water my garden. And I continued, and I decided then, when I was coming in, I was going to sit on the back patio and I was going to choose a different experience. And I was able, in my mind, to jump to a different plane of existence and pull out that card, pull out that jacket, pull out that ticket and say, this is the experience I prefer having. Bug bites didn't bother me since. So if you want to play with that and you're unsure how, feel free to call me, email me, make a comment on my YouTube channel, and I'll get with you. I think my email is in there and under the description if you click on more under the title of the video, and I'm happy to help because I love doing this stuff. So we have to remember, existence exists, yes. Consciousness exists. There is no beginning, no end. Consciousness is always going. When we go to sleep, consciousness is still working. Actually, consciousness is playing, and we need to remember to have that perspective too. And that's part of cleaning up our beliefs. So if we feel like we need more clarity or more energy, we can look and go within, check in, sit in that heart space for a while and ask consciousness, which is the same as asking Creator, Source, our higher selves. What is causing this exhaustion, this fatigue, this procrastination, this sorrow, this sadness? It may be that we did just have someone, that a loved one that passed. And we have to remember they are in joy now. Yes, we're going to grieve, we're going to miss them. A lot of times we think that we are grieving for them, but the truth of that matter is we're grieving for ourselves, our own loss, because now they are free. They are free to go play in consciousness and do more work. And it isn't that they're gone, because we can feel them, their spirit, their sometimes their thoughts. Sometimes we'll pick up on a scent that's familiar and we recognize it as them. They're still with us, just on a different plane, so that we don't see that in physicality anymore. But they'll give us signs, especially if we ask for them. And part of that grieving process, whether it's grieving someone that passed on to the other side, or grieving a financial or job or economic loss, or the loss of our sovereignty, our freedom, we need to sit with that and go through the process. If we allow ourselves to fully experience what we are feeling, be present with that, then it will have a chance to go away. It has a chance to flow through, to be expressed and released. And feelings, emotions, thoughts all come up because they're ready to go. They want to be let go. They want to be released. And so one way we can do that, whether it's feeling stuck in our thoughts or stuck in processing the loss of someone or anything else, sadness, fear, any of that, feel what it feels like to feel that emotion, that feeling. And ask yourself, where in your body do you feel that? And be very present with it. Often it's between the heart and belly. That's the heart space, because the heart space is so expansive. And you feel into that and ask it, what else do you need to be let go? Because we need to recognize those things come up because they want to be released. And it's as easy as telling it, thank you. I've learned from you. I appreciate you. I see you. I acknowledge you. I feel you. And it's safe to go. And it's as easy as pretending you're opening a window in your belly and your heart and just letting it bubble out, like you're blowing bubbles in the wind, or like balloons floating up, or like soda pop bubbles bubbling up through the straw. It's as easy as that. And you may feel them more strongly. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream, whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel those. Those feelings come up because they want to be felt and they want to let go. So allow them to let go. You're free to go. Thank you. And it's a process that can take a while. It's not something that happens in just a minute and then it's done. Sometimes you can sit there and do that process for an hour. Maybe you don't have 3 hours to sit and do that all day. But if you commit some time to yourself on a regular basis to allow that process to occur, then eventually it will go. The work that I do with my clients is I'm coaching them through some of these processes so that it can go more quickly. But if you want to do it on your own, it can be done on your own as well. Um, Being able to let go of experiences that we'd prefer not to have, like the bug bites or being run off the road or a potential job change or job loss or something like that. People right now, because the stock market went wonky, I think last week or something, you can tell how much I pay attention to news. I don't. um, People get into fear and they're concerned. Feel what that feels like and ask yourself, am I okay here and now? If we're still alive, We're meant to be still alive. Therefore, we are already taken care of. Recognizing that from within allows us freedom, allows us to feel like we are more present with ourselves and we can be in joy. We can be in our own sovereignty and our energy picks up. It's keeping things moving. It's keeping things going. We don't want to stay stuck and give in to the fear, the procrastination, the exhaustion, whatever it is that's holding us back from truly living life. If something is holding you back from living your life fully, rethink it. Ask yourself, how important is that really? Does it really require my attention and my focus? And if it does it require as much as I'm putting into it? Because it may not. Sometimes it's as easy as tapping into the heart space and asking your higher self, what is the simple way here? Give it time. Wait a few minutes. The answer will come. And whatever you feel, just pop in, go with it. And then a minute later, you'll think, wow, why was I putting that off? Why was I fearing that? Why was I giving up my own power? Why did I word that right? I don't know. I apologize. Why was I giving up my own power over that? And usually it's because of fear. And I'm trying to think of, was it Wilson? I don't remember exactly who said it, but basically there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And that is an incredibly true statement. And if we remind ourselves of that when we're not fully living life and we're putting something off, when we're living in sadness, sadness does need to be experienced, but we don't need to stay stuck in it. We want to fall in love with life. And sometimes that means experiencing the sadness and allowing ourselves to experience that sadness as fully as possible in that moment when we feel it, so that it can more quickly go. It wants to be felt, it wants to be recognized, and it wants to leave. And we have to remember that. Sadness can come in different forms. We may not recognize it as sadness. It may be pulling us down and kind of this low energy feeling all along, and we don't recognize it could be sadness of something or depression because we are not fully enjoying life. So just ask yourself, what would bring more joy right now? If I knew what that answer was, what would it look like? Sometimes we don't know, so we can trick the mind by asking it in different ways. Asking, sitting in that heart space, knowing that our higher self, which is that divine connection, will communicate with us. The goal is to feel peace and joy because life is so short. It is so short. Yes, we're here to experience all of the range of emotions. And if we experience those more fully when we feel those or when they come up, then they'll go more quickly. That'll provide more clarity. It'll provide a deeper understanding of who we are and what our purpose is in life. And when we tap into that, we are just bubbling over with joy. We may not even know why. Some days I'm going through my day and I'm just full of excitement and joy, and it's just bubbling out of me. And I'm thinking, I don't know where that's coming from. I don't understand it, but that's okay. I don't have to. It's the feeling, because feel it says where it's at, not think it's. If we are stuck in our head too much, it bogs us down, and it can cause sadness, depression, lethargy, exhaustion, procrastination, things like that. It also brings our frequencies down to where we attract experiences that perhaps we'd rather not have. Sometimes we have to have those experiences as a lesson. I really feel like this morning, um, the guy who pushed me into traffic, it was a tow truck driver of all people. He wanted to get ahead, and he looked at me in his mirror and just gunned it. And I thought, my word, that could have killed me and others. And I have to stop and ask, what is my part in that? And I honestly looked at that and I recognized it wasn't about me, but there was a lesson for me in that. And I probably shouldn't share it here. It wasn't about being irresponsible, but it was learning how to stand in my own sovereignty, stand in my own power, even next to a big tow truck. And that got me to thinking, and it makes us go and do our research a little bit more when we're not fully aware of all of the information that is available to us. So I thought, okay, I have some homework to do. This is an opportunity for growth, for a deeper understanding of who I am and the power that I have. I am fortunate. I know what my life's purpose is. It's what keeps me not just going, but excited about life and loving life and thriving in life. And not everybody is at that place where they have that. And I'm human. I still have days where, oh, I'd rather not this or I'd rather not that. Okay. But 95, 98, 99% of my time, I'm just bubbling over with joy because I know who I am and what I am and what I'm here for. And I'm living it. This is a big part of it. I love sharing. I love teaching. I love helping others heal. I love helping them grow in their spirituality and find their purpose. And whatever your purpose is, if you're not sure of what that is, go and spend time in your heart space, in the quiet, and you'll figure it out. What brings you joy? What makes you happy? What makes you excited? Is it what you're doing right now? Does that serve a purpose, though? It might. And what has been found is if you find your soul's purpose, it might be painting and art, and maybe you're not able to make a living at that yet. But if you devote a time regularly to that, it could be 1 hour a week, hopefully a little bit more. But if you make that promise to yourself and you stick to it, then you will find that it carries you through the 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you do for a living to be able to put food on the table. But you've got to devote time to your soul's purpose. That will raise your frequency to help avoid the experiences you'd rather not have, like the bug bites or the, being shoved over in traffic, or maybe uh, being in a relationship or a job that doesn't bring you the most joy. If you're still there, you're still learning something from it. So try to find that answer too. Ask yourself, I'm still here. So what else am I to learn? Because that's one of the keys in life, is learn from those experiences. If we're not learning from a difficult situation and we jump out too soon, we're going to be brought that same type of experience over and over and over until we learn the lesson. So you may as well stick with what you got, but do it very consciously. Ask yourself, how can I do this in the best way possible for myself and for the others involved? How can I serve others while in this experience? And what can I learn from that? Ask spirit, ask your heart, your higher self. What is it I'm to learn from this? because until you learn that lesson, you're going to keep repeating it in one form or another, and that'll bring your energy down. That'll keep bringing in the experiences you'd rather not have until we start getting those lessons, and then get that little carousel out and pull the ticket and say, this is what I'd prefer experiencing right now. So we're going to dive a little bit into a little bit of a session work, a mini session, if you will. And I'm feeling the need to go into the 5 elements. And it feels like there's a stuckness or a stillness that, so stillness is what we want to experience in the mind, in the heart, in the soul. That still peace, that quiet peace, that quiet joy. However, when there's too much stillness or too little, it can be pathological or not healthy in some way. And it can create stuckness, if you will. Kind of like, well, I live in Gulf Coast, Louisiana, and the swamps can be sticky and still, and it doesn't feel very good. It's damp and it's just kind of blah, you know? Um, but the key is to get some air moving through there, right? Light a fire underneath things, get things in motion. So we're going to do a 5 elements balancing, and we're going to do that within the body mind complex. And also the connection between the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. So we're going to do a 3 brain balancing with the 5 elements to bring more flow. When we have that flow, when we create that flow, we don't feel stuck. We gain more clarity, we gain more energy. Things move faster, whether it's an illness we may be experiencing, or a sadness or depression, anxiety, or feelings that maybe we feel like are unhealthy. There's a lot of agitation in the world right now, and a lot of people are telling me, I don't know why, but I just feel aggravated and angry and frustrated, or I'm not sleeping well, or things like that. There's individual consciousness and there's mass consciousness. And so sometimes we're not completely aware that what we're picking up on is mass consciousness. If we really do some soul searching and we can't find it in ourselves of why we would feel agitated, it's perhaps that we're picking up something from mass consciousness. Or it could just be the energies around, okay? In the stars, the earth, the environment, what have you. So the goal here is regaining our flow in life so that we can experience the ups and downs without feeling overwhelmed or lost or exhausted from it, tired from it, without losing so much sleep over it. Sometimes there's sleep loss, and what we literally need to do is just tell our mind, okay, stop the think it's time for sleep. If it's something I really need to tend to, I will remember you tomorrow when I wake up, and I'll take care of it then. But right now, it's time to turn it off and go to sleep. A lot of times that's all it takes, and people don't realize it. They just get aggravated. Why am I still thinking? I want to stop this, but they don't take the time to tell the mind, hey, go to sleep, cool it. So we want to find that flow so that we more smoothly operate in life. Life is life. There are going to be ups and downs. It's not all perfect. The key is that no matter what life brings, we feel flow. we feel at peace. If we keep our frequencies high by staying heart-centered, living in service to others, finding those lessons that we need to learn, but from within, then the other things, the outside influences, don't bother us so much. When I was shoved into oncoming traffic and almost off the road this morning, I recognized, wow, that didn't bother me too much. I wasn't angry at the guy. I'm just now thinking of that. I did call 911 to report it because I was concerned because he did it so purposefully that he would do that to others. Now, I was used to driving in third world countries where they turn 2 lanes into 5 lanes and it's chaos. And that was a lot of years ago. Thankfully, my mind is still sharp enough to think quickly, look around, and get where I need to go safely. But not everybody in a Western world is used to driving like that or has ever been put in that position. And it might scare people and accidents can be caused. But what I recognized right after that was I'm okay. I wasn't too rattled. I was grateful I was still alive. I am grateful. But it didn't put me out so much. Sometimes that's a lesson, just to recognize that we are taken care of. Again, if we're here, if we're alive and we're meant to be alive, we are protected. It's nice to ask for that help to protect us when we take a trip, we travel. It is Mercury retrograde right now. If you're listening to this on YouTube later, we're in August of 2024. Mercury retrograde has to do with communications. That's computers and technology and things like that. It also has to do with travel, mostly delays, things like that. But we want to keep the flow in everything. And that means knowing we are already protected and safe. That means knowing that whatever process we need to go through to gain the clarity, to gain peace, is necessary. And it can be easier if we go within to do that processing very consciously. So I want to invite you to take time each day to just sit with yourself. This is more easily done out in nature. Even like, I enjoy going out in the garden in the morning, but even if I just sit on my back patio, just listening to the birds as the sun comes up, or maybe you're not an early morning person, you're an evening person, go sit outside around sunset. Take some time to just breathe. Breathe life in. Drop down into your heart. I've made videos on that as well. But just drop down into your heart space and put that focus here. And sit with that. And if you practice that every day on a regular basis, then you're more experienced at being in your heart space. When you need that, when you need to access it to say, if you do get rattled from something in traffic, drop into your heart and remember who you are. Nothing can take your freedom away. No one can take your freedom away if you know who you are right here. Because in here, then, if you're doing it from your heart, you can create the reality you prefer. So I have a comment in the chat. Thank you. Sometimes I find when I've been pushing off something, then things start to flow and the flow seems uncontrollable or out of control. Good point. Especially in the beginning when we're learning to navigate being in the flow, it's not so smooth, right? It's either this or that, and we don't know which way to go, and we feel out of control. And the key here is to get back in the driver's seat of life, if you will. That takes some processing. It takes dedication. The type of work that I do as a transformational coach will absolutely help you get to where you can find that balance and get in the driver's seat and steer more smoothly, more purposefully in life, and not go from one extreme to the other, feeling out of control still. Great comment. It's a good thing to consider. Again, even if I don't have the opportunity to work with you personally or one on one, one thing you can do to help get yourself out of the extremes and find that flow that's more peaceful, a more peaceful and purposeful flow, is again to go within. Spend that time, as much time as you can, in your heart space. Go for a walk, go for a hike, sit out on the back patio, earth yourself, put your bare feet in the grass as often as you can. It grounds you, it centers you. It allows you to take that deep breath, and let it go. And then you recognize what's really important in life. Is all the stuff up here going on in my head, the whole to-do list, is that really necessary to do right now and attend to right now? Or maybe, did I put too much on my plate just because I thought I had to, or felt obligated or guilty? We need to remember to look at things and ask, is that my personal responsibility or someone else's? If you're taking on everyone else's responsibility, it will make you feel stressed and out of control and make you want to procrastinate because maybe it's not yours. Guilt, obligation, to some extent, those are not necessary. Yes, if you made a promise to do something, you need to make good on that. But you need to ask yourself, is that truly my personal responsibility? If it is, absolutely take responsibility and make things right. We need to live by our word, keep our word. So again, if we're living in our heart space instead of our heads, we can speak more slowly and more purposefully and more meaningfully. And then it's easier to keep our word and take responsibility. That will bring a lot more flow, a lot more ease, a lot more calm and peace to life. And when we have that, we can have a lot more joy. Are there any other questions or anything else that anyone would like to bring up? Feel free to put it in the chat. Right now, what I feel like I'm going to do is we're going to go back to that formula, doing the 3 brain balancing with the 5 elements balancing. And we're going to bring all of that into the heart space to be centered in the heart. When we go to the heart brain, we go to our individuation, learning more deeply who we truly are, processing it on deeper levels. It's that deep inner knowing. I know that I know that I know that I know. That's the space we want to process in. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and just take a couple of deep breaths in and out. And we're going to tap that in. If you've been with me a while, you know the tapping process, head, heart, and belly while you're taking some deep breaths in and out. And if you haven't been with me a while and you're new here, feel free to go on my YouTube channel and look for the video on tapping out. Look for some of my earlier videos and walking you through some of these processes. You can always contact me as well. You can reach me at info@wisewomanevolving.com. And you can ask questions. You can connect with me. I'm happy to walk you through anything I possibly can. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to serve greater humanity, because that to me is what brings me joy in life. It's my purpose. It's not everyone's purpose. Maybe your purpose is being an accountant, because what stresses some people is dealing with finances or money or how to make ends meet. And maybe you serve them by taking that stress away. Or maybe your purpose in life is the janitor. and keeping things clean and orderly and picked up so that other people can experience peace. And some people may say, well, how would that feel purposeful? Oh my word. I've actually, when I was growing up, there was a janitor at a school. He loved his job and he did it with so much love in his heart. But he knew he was bringing order to the world. And it was his way of contributing to a more beautiful world. There is purpose in absolutely everything. There's purpose in every job. Find what is your purpose, what brings you joy, what you enjoy doing. Whether it's mopping floors and even scrubbing toilets, picking up trash, or whether it's being an accountant or babysitting or teaching. Find what brings you true joy. What brings you into that meditative state? You know, he would love mopping floors because it was just his world of meditation. And way back in those days, we didn't necessarily use the same terminology. But when I look back, that's what I recognize it was. And it was his way of living a more spiritual life. If you're an accountant and you truly love counting those beans, then that is your way of being a spiritual being and living a more spiritual life. And so, is loss part of our spiritual path? I believe so, because it's in recognizing the loss or the fear of loss or the anticipation of loss that we learn to look at things more fully, more deeply, on deeper levels, going within and finding what are the answers, what is the purpose to that. Allowing the processing to let some of those feelings and emotions go, to find our flow, find our purpose, find our meaning in life. And that is incredibly spiritual, because when you find your meaning in life and your purpose in life and you begin living that, even if it's just a little bit, as long as you do it on a regular basis, then you begin to have more joy, more freedom of expression, and you bring in more beautiful experiences, and you have that inner peace that no one, nothing can take away, because that's yours. You know who you are and what you are, and that you're a spiritual being. We are literally co-creators with the Creator. When we recognize that on a very deep level within our own heart, our being, then we can recognize how very powerful we are. And we recognize that we're capable of more, and even more than that. And we're capable of having really incredible, bliss-filled lives, peace-filled lives. That doesn't necessarily mean that chaos won't occur in the world. We may find that there's chaos all around us. I'll share this with you. My daughter was asking at one point, when you hear about things going on in the world, Mama, are we going to be okay? And I told her, I said, honey, you keep living your life in service to others. You do what's right by others for yourself. You do what brings you peace and joy. And yes, we may notice chaos all around us. Right now, I've noticed there's major flooding, fires, earthquakes, horrific weather patterns, horrific. There's economic collapses, all kinds of geopolitical type things going on that seem horrific. So we notice the chaos going on around us. But right now, we have peace. We're safe. We are well. And it brings us to that clarity, to the knowing of I am that I am. When you know that, yes, you may see chaos all around you, but you are taken care of. Remember, remember to remind yourself, I am here now. When you recognize that, you know you're already taken care of. That alone will allow a lot of the stress and worry and fear to go away. And you will know who you are in this life. And that brings you to that power. And then you can purposely co create with the Creator and create a better life for yourself. I invite you to join me at Wise Woman Evolving on YouTube. I don't have the website up right now. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not in a rush to get it up. I'll be very honest with you about that. I feel like there are other things calling my attention right now that might be a little more important. And if I'm able to connect with you just by letting you know to reach out to me through email, info@wisewomanevolving.com, or by YouTube or something like that, um, then I'm still able to serve others. So I will get that up, but right now those are the best ways to reach me. And I'm going to leave you with this. Remember that consciousness is. Awareness is. There's no beginning, no end. So there's no real death. Consciousness lives on. Don't fear loss. Recognize that it is part of the flow. It is part of the cycle. And it is something we can learn and experience and learn from. So keep living, keep moving forward. If you are having those feelings and emotions that feel like they're bringing you down, don't sweep them under the rug. Don't deny them. Keep working with it. Go within and find that. And I wish you love. I wish you joy. I wish you peace. Thank you all for being with me here today. I'll stay on if once I stop the recording. If anyone wants to ask questions or chime in and chit chat, that's fine. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here today. I love you all, and I'll see you next month.